Hi everyone, this is Dr. 𝐸𝐚𝐯 and welcome back to another episode. Today, I want to talk to you about dialectical thinking. If you never heard that term before, then this is the right episode for you. But before we get started, I want to remind you to subscribe below so you get notified of my latest videos. And I also want to make sure I hear from you. So please share with me any questions, any comments you have below as well, and I will personally respond to them. So let's get started. Today, I want to talk to you about dialectical thinking because with everything that's been going on this year in 2020, there has been more anxiety, more frustration, people are feeling more stuck, and people are feeling more depression. And there's one thing I know is that when you have anxiety and depression, there's a lot of negative thinking that feeds into the anxiety. And anxiety and depression loves thinking in absolutes. We call that black or white thinking, also known as all or nothing thinking. So when you're feeling anxious, you think to yourself, I either feel this way or that way. It's either this or that. So there's a lot of either or thinking when you're struggling with anxiety. And that feeds into the problem because it's against our nature. The truth is, at any given moment, we can have more than one feeling, we can have more than one thought. So having to make ourselves choose between these two thoughts and feelings create more distress. Here's an example I want to share with you. Imagine that you had a conflict with your partner. I know that's not hard to imagine. We often can have conflicts with our partner. And as time goes on, what happens is that you start to reflect on the conversation, you start to reflect on the conflict, and you start to look at things from your partner's perspective, right? As your anger dies down, you start to see things from their perspective, put yourself in their shoes, and you start to have this newfound empathy towards your partner. So what do you do when you have this sadness and hurt from the conflict, but also this newfound empathy? They may feel quite opposite feelings. And if your anxiety says, well, you must choose, you either are sad or hurt, or you're understanding your partner, it causes more conflict and you can't move forward. Dialectical thinking can be very life-saving because it gives us permission not to have to choose. Dialectical thinking says two opposite feelings, two opposite thoughts can coexist. So the fact is, you can be empathetic towards your partner. You can say to your partner, I understand where you're coming from. I understand you didn't mean to hurt me, and yet I still feel hurt. So dialectical thinking is a very what we call both and thinking. And this is really important because and is so much more powerful than the word but. Here's an example. If I said to you, I accept things as they are, but I want to change them. So what happens is now you're paying attention to the second part of the sentence after the word but instead of and. If I were to say to you, I accept things as they are and I want to change, you are no longer just paying attention to the second sentence, you're actually looking at the whole thing. And that's the other ingredient of dialectical thinking. It helps us have what we call balanced perspective. We, again, instead of all or nothing thinking where we're choosing, with dialectical thinking, we can have a more balanced perspective and we don't have to deny one feeling over the other. We don't have to deny one thought over the other. So the word and is very intentional, it's very purposeful, and it's very powerful when we talk about dialectical thinking. That's one of your key things is allowing those two things to coexist and put the word and in there. Before I let you go, I want to again share with you some examples of dialectical thinking. It could be things like, during the quarantine, I love spending time with you and I need my alone time. You might also say to yourself, I know I'm doing good enough and I want to set new goals. I accept things as they are and I want to see them change. I feel scared and I can do hard things. So these are a few examples of dialectical thinking. So what you want to do is now take a look at your all or nothing, black or white thinking, and then you want to reframe it by using this dialectical thinking formula. Thank you so much for joining me for a few minutes and learning about dialectical thinking. If you haven't done so, please make sure to subscribe and share any questions or comments you have. I love to hear from you, and I will personally respond to them. See you in the next episode.